Jin Yichen watches blood bloom across his palm, crimson drops falling onto white marble. He doesn't flinch, doesn't curse, just wraps his hand in a towel and watches red seep through the fabric. "Control," he says to the empty kitchen. "Control is everything." His phone buzzes. Security alert. New chef arriving in 1 hour. He ignores it. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, Haicheng's skyline glitters in the pre-dawn darkness. A city of glass and steel and perfect order. Just like him. That was 5 years ago when he learned his lesson. When the woman in the red dress smiled while destroying his business partnership and his heart in one elegant motion. When he stood in that hotel, ballroom watching champagne glasses shatter and cameras flash, and decided that feelings are just weakness wearing a different name. Now he controls everything. His empire, his home, his heart. Nothing gets in. Nothing gets out. If you're ready to watch what happens when a man who locked his heart away meets someone who refuses to play by his rules, hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Jin wakes at 5:47 a.m. Not 5:45, not 5:50. Exactly 5:47 a.m., just like every other morning for the past 5 years. He sits up in bed, black silk sheets perfectly smooth, no wrinkles, no disorder. The routine begins. 50 push-ups, cold shower exactly 3 minutes, water temperature at 15 degrees Celsius. Black coffee, 180 milliliters, no sugar, no milk. Financial reports on his tablet, quarterly projections highlighted in yellow. Everything measured, everything controlled. He buttons his charcoal suit, Tom Ford custom-tailored $8,000, and checks his reflection. Sharp, cold, untouchable. Perfect. His phone rings. Chen, his assistant. Mr. Jin, the new executive chef, arrives at 9. The staff prepared a welcome ceremony. "Cancel it," Jin says, his voice flat. "Sir, they've been preparing since." "I said cancel it. I don't do ceremonies." He ends the call before Chen can respond. Jin walks through the Jin estate, his footsteps echoing on marble floors. 12 bedrooms, Olympic-sized pool, gardens manicured to geometric precision, 32 staff members who move like ghosts, appearing when needed, disappearing when not. His younger sister Jin Yichen texts, "Please try to be nice to this one. The last 3 chefs quit because you made them cry." He deletes the message without responding. Nice is inefficient, he says to himself. At his desk, Jin reviews quarterly reports. His telecommunications empire spans 3 continents, 15 billion in assets, 5,000 employees, 0 emotional investments. His phone buzzes again. Yichen, she's from South Africa. Her name is Amara, try not to be terrible. Jin's jaw tightens. He's not terrible, he's precise. There's a difference. He deletes that message too. The scar on his ring finger throbs, a thin white line where he cut away his engagement ring 5 years ago. The night he learned that love is just another word for ammunition. The night Liu Mei smiled at him across that hotel ballroom and said, "Thank you for the business secrets, darling. My father's company appreciates your pillow talk." The champagne glass had slipped from his hand, shattered on marble. Camera flashes erupted. 500 guests gasped. Jin had stood there, frozen, watching her walk away in that red dress. He'd gone home that night and cut the ring off his finger with kitchen shears. Let it bleed. Let it scar. Never again, he'd said then. He says it now, never again. At 11:23 a.m., Jin walks toward the main kitchen to approve the weekly menu. This task should take exactly 7 minutes. He stops in the corridor. Laughter. Real laughter, not the nervous, polite kind his staff produces when he's nearby. This laugh is bright, unrestrained, completely wrong for his home. Jin's jaw clenches. He moves toward the sound. The kitchen doors swing open. A woman stands at the center island, her back to him. She wears chef's whites that somehow look rebellious on her frame. Her hair, thick, natural, pulled into a high bun, catches the afternoon light streaming through the windows. She's gesturing wildly at something, and the three junior chefs around her are actually smiling. Smiling in his kitchen. No, 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 the woman says, her accent unmistakably South African, warm, musical, nothing like the clipped Mandarin and English that dominate his world. You don't just taste with your tongue, you taste with your soul first. Otherwise, you're just eating expensive fuel. She picks up a spoon, dips it into a copper pot, and tastes. Her eyes close. A small sound of pleasure escapes her throat. Jin's chest constricts. She opens her eyes, deep brown, bright with something he can't name, and turns. Their gazes lock. The kitchen goes completely silent. Oh, she says, tilting her head slightly. No bow, no formal greeting, just curiosity. You must be the boss. Jin's voice comes out colder than he intends. I am Jin Yichen, owner of this estate, and you are. Amara Nkosi. She wipes her hand on her apron and extends it toward him. Your new executive chef. He looks at her outstretched hand but doesn't take it. His eyes travel from her hand to her face, assessing, calculating. Executive chefs in my kitchen follow protocol, Ms. Nkosi. Protocol does not include laughter loud enough to be heard in the East Wing. Her hand drops slowly. Her smile doesn't. Laughter aids digestion, she says. Science fact. Science fact. Jin repeats her words with lethal precision. Is that what they taught you at Le Cordon Bleu and the Culinary Institute of America? No, Amara's smile widens. My grandmother taught me that. She also taught me how to spot a man who's forgotten how to live. The junior chefs gasp audibly. Jin's expression doesn't change, but something dark flickers in his eyes. My office, now. Can't. Amara turns back to her pot, dismissing him. This reduction needs 8 more minutes, but I'm free at 2 p.m. if you want to schedule a meeting. I don't schedule meetings in my own home. Then I guess you'll have to wait. She tastes the sauce again, makes a small adjustment with salt. Or learn patience. Both are good options. Jin stares at her back, the absolute audacity of it, the fearlessness, and feels something he hasn't felt in 5 years. Not anger. Interest. He hates it immediately. 2 p.m., he says, his voice low and dangerous. Don't be late. Wouldn't dream of it, Mr. Jin. He turns and walks out, his footsteps sharp against the tile floor. The moment the kitchen doors close behind him, he hears it again. Her laughter. It follows him all the way back to his office. At 2:03 p.m., there's a knock on Jin's office door. He notes the time, 3 minutes late. Come in. Amara enters, still wearing her chef's whites. She smells of cardamom and ginger, and something else. Something alive that doesn't belong in his carefully controlled space. You're late, Jin says without looking up from his computer screen. You're tense. She sits in the leather chair across from his desk without being invited. We should probably address both issues. Jin finally looks at her, really looks. Amara Nkosi is not beautiful in the conventional way. She's striking, strong cheekbones, full lips, skin like polished mahogany. But it's her eyes that unsettle him. They see too much. They look at him like he's not a $15 billion empire, like he's just a man. He hates that most of all. Ms. Nkosi. Amara. Ms. Nkosi was my mother, and trust me, you don't want to deal with her energy. Amara. He says her name like he's testing a weapon. I have 3 rules in this kitchen: punctuality, precision, obedience. Interesting. She leans forward, elbows on his desk. I have 3 rules too: passion, creativity, never cooking for someone who treats food like a business transaction. Food is asterisk a transaction. Ingredients plus technique equals outcome. No, she shakes her head, and something fierce enters her expression. Food is memory, food is love, food is the thing that connects us when everything else fails. Poetic, Jin says, his tone ice. But irrelevant. I don't need connection. I need a chef who can execute a menu without turning my kitchen into a therapy session. Then you hired the wrong person. Amara stands abruptly, and for a moment, Jin thinks she's about to quit. Instead, she walks around his desk, invading his space, and places both hands on the polished wood surface. She leans in. Let me be very clear, Mr. Jin. I took this job because Chen told me you were difficult. I like difficult. I like men who think they're in control right up until the moment they realize they're not. Jin rises slowly, matching her posture. They're separated by 12 inches and a lifetime of different philosophies. And let me be clear, Ms. Nkosi, I am in control of this estate, of this conversation, of you. Prove it. Her smile is dangerous, challenging. Taste my food. If you can eat it without feeling a single thing, I'll follow every protocol you have. I'll be silent, obedient, boring. And if I do feel something, then you admit that control isn't the same as living. Jin stares at her. Her pupils are dilated. Her breathing is slightly elevated. She's challenging him, yes, but there's something else underneath the bravado. Hope. It's the hope that breaks through his defenses. Fine, he says finally. Tonight, 7 p.m., main dining room. I'll cook you something honest, Amara says, stepping back. Try not to choke on it. She walks to the door, pauses with her hand on the handle, and looks back at him. For what it's worth, Mr. Jin, I don't think you're as cold as you pretend to be. I think you're just afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. Everyone's afraid of something. She opens the door. The question is whether you're brave enough to admit it. She leaves, and Jin realizes he's gripping the edge of his desk hard enough that his knuckles have turned white. Okay, so Jin just met someone who won't bow down. Think he can handle it? Drop a comment with your prediction right now. And if you're loving this energy clash, smash that like button. At 6:58 p.m., Jin enters the main dining room. The long mahogany table, built to seat 24 guests, has been reduced to a single setting at one end. Candles flicker in the center, which he specifically forbids because they're imprecise and unnecessary. Amara emerges from the kitchen, carrying a single plate. She's changed out of her chef's whites into a simple black dress. Her hair is down now, natural curls framing her face. She looks different, still defiant but softer somehow. She places the plate in front of him without ceremony. Babodi spiced braised short rib, she says, her voice quieter than it was earlier. Served over saffron rice with samballs made from my grandmother's recipe. It's South African and Chinese and something else entirely. Jin looks at the plate. The presentation is unconventional, not the geometric precision he demands from his kitchen. This is organic, alive. The colors blend and swirl like they're still in motion. It looks like a mess. Amara sits across from him, uninvited. Good, life is messy, Mr. Jin. Only dead things are perfectly ordered. He picks up his fork, noting how his hand trembles slightly. He hates that she might see it. The first bite hits his tongue, and Jin's entire carefully constructed world fractures. It's not perfect. It's something beyond perfect, something that reaches past his taste buds straight into his chest. The spices are bold, cumin, coriander, turmeric, but balanced by something sweet and unexpected. The meat is tender enough to fall apart, yet structured enough to hold its identity. He tastes memory. His mother's kitchen when he was 7, before the divorce. His father's rare smile over dumplings. The first meal Liu Mei cooked for him, before she became his nightmare. Comfort, home, things he hasn't allowed himself to feel in 5 years. He tastes loss. He tastes hope. He tastes everything he's been running from. Well, Amara's voice pulls him back. She's watching him with those impossible eyes. What do you think? Jin puts down his fork carefully. His hand is definitely shaking now. It's adequate, he lies. Liar, she smiles, but it's not triumphant. It's sad. You felt it. I saw it in your face, that moment when your armor cracked. You saw nothing. I saw a man, remembering what it's like to be human. Jin stands abruptly. His chair scrapes against the hardwood floor. This was a mistake. Eating or feeling. Both. He walks toward the door, his back rigid. Then he stops, his hand on the frame. Without turning around, he says quietly, "You start tomorrow, 5 a.m., don't be late." "So I passed the test?" Amara asks. "No." Jin turns his head slightly, just enough that she can see his profile in the candlelight. "You failed it completely. You made me feel. That's the worst thing you could have done." He leaves her there, alone with the candlelight and the empty plate, and the truth hanging between them like smoke. At 11:34 p.m., Jin stands in his bedroom, staring at his reflection in the floor-to-ceiling window. He's removed his suit jacket, loosened his tie, unbuttoned the top button of his shirt, small rebellions that mean nothing and everything. Below, the Jin estate spreads out like a kingdom. His kingdom, everything in its place, everything under control. Except her. His phone buzzes. A text from Chen. The staff loves her already. She made them laugh 3 times today. When was the last time anyone laughed in that kitchen? Jin deletes the message, but can't delete the question. When was the last time anyone laughed? When was the last time he laughed? His phone buzzes again. Unknown number, you're not as scary as you think. A. Jin stares at the message. He should fire her for this, for getting his private number, for the informality, for the assumption that she can text him like they're equals. Instead, he types, "How did you get this number?" 3 dots appear. Then, "Chen gave it to me, said you needed someone who wasn't afraid to text you." Jin, Chen is fired. Amara, no he's not. You need him, just like you needed that meal. Jin, I don't need anything. Amara, everyone needs something, Mr. Jin, even men who pretend to be made of stone. Jin stares at the screen. His thumb hovers over the keyboard. He types and deletes, types and deletes. Finally, he sends, "Stop making me feel things." The 3 dots appear and disappear, like she's struggling with what to say. Finally, no. Just that no. Jin's chest tightens. He throws his phone onto the bed and walks to the window, pressing his forehead against the cold glass. Below, in the estate's garden, he sees a figure, white chef's coat glowing in the moonlight. Amara. She's sitting on a stone bench near the koi pond, looking up at the stars. Her face is tilted toward the sky, and even from this distance, Jin can see that she's smiling. Smiling at nothing, at everything, at the universe itself. He watches her for 5 minutes, 10, 15. She never looks at her phone, never checks the time, she just exists, present, alive. Jin realizes he can't remember the last time he just existed. His hand moves to his chest, pressing against his sternum. Beneath his palm, his heart beats faster than it should, faster than it has been in 5 years. "Stop it," he whispers to himself, to his heart, to whatever is waking up inside him. "Stop." But it doesn't stop. Below, Amara stands and walks back toward the kitchen entrance. She pauses, looks up at his window, directly at him, like she knows he's there, and waves. Just a small wave, half mocking, half tender. Then she's gone. Jin steps back from the window. His reflection stares back at him, hair slightly disheveled, tie loose, eyes too bright. He looks almost human. He hates it. He craves it. "Control," he says to the darkness. "Control is everything." But the word sounds hollow now, empty, like a prayer to a god who stopped listening years ago. At 5:47 a.m., Jin wakes. The routine begins. 50 push-ups, cold shower, black coffee. But when he walks into the kitchen for his precisely measured breakfast, 2 eggs, 150 grams of brown rice, green tea, he finds something different waiting on the counter. A plate with a note written in bold handwriting. "Thought you could use something less boring. Try not to overthink it." The dish is simple. Scrambled eggs with chili flakes and fresh herbs, toast with honey butter, sliced mango on the side, nothing revolutionary, nothing complicated. But it's wrong. It's not his routine. It's chaos masquerading as breakfast. Jin picks up the plate, intending to throw it away. Instead, he sits down, takes a bite, closes his eyes. The eggs are perfect, fluffy, slightly spicy, with an undertone of butter and garlic. The chili flakes add heat that wakes up his mouth. The mango is sweet and cool, balancing everything. It tastes like defiance. It tastes like freedom. It tastes like the beginning of something he can't control and doesn't want to stop. When he opens his eyes, Amara is standing in the kitchen doorway, watching him with that knowing smile. She's already dressed in her chef's whites, her hair pulled back, looking fresh and awake and utterly unafraid. "Morning, Mr. Jin," she says casually. "Sleep well." "No," he answers honestly. "Good." She walks past him, ties her apron with practiced efficiency. "That means my food is working. You can't feel anything and sleep well. They're mutually exclusive." "You're very sure of yourself." "I'm sure of my food." She starts pulling out ingredients for the day's prep. "You're the one I'm not sure about yet." "Not sure about what?" "Whether you're brave enough to let yourself feel again." She looks at him over her shoulder. "Or whether you'll run." "I don't run." "Everyone runs, Mr. Jin. The question is what they're running from." She pauses, her hands stilling on a knife. "Or what they're running toward." Jin stands, brings his empty plate to the sink. As he passes her, close enough to smell cardamom and vanilla in her hair, he stops. "I'm not running," he says quietly. "Then what are you doing?" "I don't know yet." "Well," Amara turns to face him fully. They're inches apart now, close enough that he can see gold flecks in her brown eyes. "Let me know when you figure it out." She doesn't move, neither does he. The kitchen is silent, except for the sound of their breathing. Jin realizes this is the closest he's been to another person. Really been close, not just physically proximate, in 5 years. It terrifies him. It exhilarates him. "I should go," he says, but doesn't move. "Probably," she agrees, but doesn't step back. "I have meetings." "I'm sure you do." "Important meetings." "Memo." "About mergers." Sounds thrilling. Neither of them moves. Finally, Jin steps back. The spell breaks. "Tonight," he says, "dinner 7 p.m. Is that an order or a request?" "Does it matter?" "To me it does." Amara crosses her arms. "I don't respond well to orders." "Then consider it a request," Jin says, surprising himself. She smiles, a real smile this time, not mocking or challenging, just warm. "Then I accept." Jin walks to the door, then stops one more time. "Amara." "Yes, Mr. Jin." "Call me Jin. Only if you stop calling me Ms. Nkosi." "Deal." He leaves, and for the first time in 5 years, he doesn't feel like he's walking through his home. He feels like he's walking through someone else's story. A story where things might change, where control might not be the answer to everything. It should terrify him. Instead, it feels like breathing for the first time in years. Jin doesn't go to his office. Instead, he walks to the East Wing Library, a room he hasn't entered in 3 years. He pulls out a leather-bound journal from the shelf. His handwriting from 5 years ago stares back at him. "Today I learned that love is a weapon. That trust is currency. That opening your heart is the same as handing someone a loaded gun and hoping they don't pull the trigger." Liu Mei pulled the trigger. "I will never let anyone get that close again. I will build walls so high that no one can climb them. I will become untouchable. Control is safety. Control is survival. I will never love again." Jin reads his own words, so certain, so absolute, and realizes something. He's been surviving, but he hasn't been living. Amara's words echo in his mind. Only dead things are perfectly ordered. He thinks about her laughter in the kitchen, her fearless smile, the way she looks at him like she can see through all his walls and still chooses to stay. He thinks about how her food made him feel, how her text message made him smile before he could stop himself, how her presence in his home has disrupted everything and somehow made everything better. "Control isn't living," he says aloud to the empty library. "It's just slower dying." His phone buzzes. "Amara," By the way, I'm cooking whatever I want tonight. Your 3-rule system is exhausting. Hope you like surprises. Jin stares at the message. A month ago, a week ago, he would have fired her for this level of insubordination. Now he types, I hate surprises. Amara, I know, that's why you need them. Jin, you're impossible. Amara, you're predictable. We balance each other out. Jin finds himself smiling. Actually smiling. His face feels strange, like muscles that haven't been used in years are suddenly waking up. He types, 7 p.m., don't be late. Amara, I'm always late. It's part of my charm. Jin, you have no charm. Amara, you're still texting me, so clearly I have some. He doesn't have a response to that, because she's right. Jin sets down his phone and looks around the library. Books he hasn't read. Art he doesn't see. A room designed for comfort and contemplation that he turned into a mausoleum. Enough, he says to himself. Enough hiding. He doesn't know what happens next. Doesn't know if he can actually let someone in. Doesn't know if his heart, locked away for so long, even remembers how to feel without shattering. But he knows one thing. Amara Nkosi walked into his kitchen, and his life with fire in her hands and laughter on her lips, and nothing will ever be the same. The fortress is cracking. And for the first time in 5 years, Jin Yichen isn't sure he wants to repair it. At 6:45 p.m., Jin stands in front of his closet, staring at rows of identical dark suits. He picks up his phone and texts Amara, should I wear a tie? Her response is immediate. Why? Planning to strangle yourself if you accidentally enjoy dinner. Jin, just answer the question. Amara, no tie. Actually show up looking like a human being instead of a corporate robot. Jin looks at his reflection, removes his tie, unbuttons the top button of his shirt, leaves his suit jacket hanging in the closet. He looks softer, younger, less like a fortress. More like himself. At 6:58 p.m., he walks toward the dining room. Through the door, he hears music, something soulful and warm that doesn't belong in his home, but somehow fits perfectly. He hears Amara humming along as she sets the table. He hears the sound of something simmering, spices and steam and life. Jin pauses with his hand on the door, his heart beating too fast. He could turn around, could fire her tomorrow, could rebuild his walls and go back to his routine and his loneliness and his safety. Or he could open this door. Control is a choice, he says quietly, and I choose. He opens the door. Amara looks up, sees him and smiles. Not the challenging smile, not the mocking smile. Just a smile that says, I see you, the real you, and I'm not afraid. You're early, she says. I'm never early. You are today, she pulls out a chair. Sit down, Jin, let me feed you something that might make you remember what it feels like to be alive. Jin sits. And somewhere deep in his chest, beneath the armor and the rules and the 5-year-old scars, something that was frozen begins to thaw. The fortress is falling. And he's not running away. He's walking toward the fire. So Jin just took his first real step. A man who built walls around his heart just opened the door. Think he's brave enough to keep going? Drop a comment, Team Jin or Team Amara? Or are you here for the chaos when these two collide? If you're invested in this slow burn story, hit that like button right now. And subscribe because episodes 2 is coming, and trust me, things are about to get intense. The kitchen becomes a battlefield. The walls keep cracking. And Jin discovers that some fires don't destroy, they transform. Remember, control is just fear dressed in expensive clothing. See you in the next episode.